Hello and welcome back, everyone. Today's lesson is going to be an introduction to the culminating activity for our course TIJ1O1. So I'm going to be going over all of the parts of the module in the hub and discuss them and do some demonstrations on what you need to be doing. So let's start with the first page. This is the first one found in the culminating activity module that is the project outline. So, your task is to interview an adult that currently works in a career in a technological field. The adult you pick can be a member of the family or a friend of the family. It cannot be an employee of our school. You will be shown a set of questions to ask. Below are listed some examples of careers in technology. So this list that you're seeing here in bullet form, this is a limited list. You're not bound by only these types of careers. This is just giving you examples of technological fields and some of those occupations within them. So typically we have communications, construction, manufacturing, technological design, transportation, computer sciences, and hospitality. So some examples of those are in communications, could include TV, radio, print media, graphic artist. Construction may include cabinet maker, house framer, finishing carpenter, electrician. Manufacturing could include millwright, machinist, pipe fitter, welder, engineer. Technological design could include drafting, engineer, architect. Transportation could include auto mechanic, aviation, rocket science. Computer sciences could include programmer, electronics engineer, and hospitality could include a chef or a baker. I'd also like to add that hairstyling is also a technological field as well. So if you know someone in your household or family that can cut hair, color hair, works at a salon, that is also considered a technological field, and that would be permissible as someone who could be interviewed as well. What we're not really aiming for is careers like doctors, lawyers, professional careers like that. We're actually really trying to focus on technological-based careers. But you are not limited to the list above. Check with your teacher if you are not sure about a particular technological field and whether it will be permissible or not. The report must be submitted to the assignment Dropbox in the Hub folder, electronically titled Culminating Activity, and must contain. So, in these bullets, we need a cover page that includes the title, course name, your name, the teacher's name, and the date. To get full marks, be creative and try to relate your cover page to our course or the career that you have chosen to interview about, which will be 3 marks. Next, the complete interview, typewritten in magazine interview format. And we'll talk about that, and I'll show you what that is later in this video. Note that the full name, complete with contact information of your interview subject, must be included. See example provided, 15 marks. Next, download and type or print the interview questions, 2 pages, and fill in the answers from your interview subject. Use as your working copy for the interview notes. Scan or take a photo of these sheets and include them in your project. Or use your iPad to record the interview and include an audio MP3 to serve as your interview in its rough format and submit a copy of the audio file to the Dropbox. So where it says or here, it's one or the other. So you're either doing everything before or after or. So you don't have to do both to get the full 2 marks because that's too much. Next, lastly, a final summary, 300-word minimum, consisting of your thoughts on your interview, your thoughts about the world of work, the world of technology, a career in technology, what you think the role of tech classes is in high school, etc., and organize each thought into its own paragraph for full marks. So that is worth 10 marks. So this is a personal reflection at the end. So this all adds up to a total of 30, and this makes up 15% of your final mark in this course. Okay, so let's go back. So I'm in the culminating task module right now, which is found on the left. The dates are going to be adjusted for our particular semester, so don't worry, don't look at these dates here because they don't mean anything for our course. And currently in my video, the activity is set to hidden mode, but it will be visible for you by the time you are watching this video. So let's take a excuse me, let's take a look at the next format. So this is magazine interview format, sample only for reference. So this is nothing more than a reference for you to look at and to help you understand what a magazine interview format is and what you can do to make it look really nice. So typically when you open up a magazine and you read an interview, on whatever page that is, you're going to see columns like you see here. So this starts, this is organized into 2 columns, which is pretty easy to read, and there's a title attached to it. So you should have a title for your interview. So this one is an interview with former aviation mechanic Mr. Bonsai, who is now turned technological education teacher. So under that is the contact information. Mr. Buckaroo Bonsai, his email address is contact information. Now it says here in brackets, sample only above, meaning that this person doesn't actually exist, at least out of the movie world. And this is not a real email address. This is just for sample only to help you understand. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the questions. Now this is not a complete interview. This is just the start of the interview. I don't need to include an entire interview for you to understand what you have to do. But you're going to be putting your name here, your first name. I have student name, obviously, for this sample sheet. So this is the first question. While working at school, did you have a part-time job? So Buckaroo answers, yes, I had a job working at Condor Aviation. The student asks, which will be you, what was your job and when did you work? So Buckaroo responds and says, I was a line crewman and the job was after school and on weekends. I was responsible for, that's a typo there, for fueling aircrafts that were used at the flight school that ran there. We also had to take them in and out of the hangar as well as sell fuel to other aircraft that flew into the airport. Student name, next question. What grade were you in at the time and what did you learn from that job? Buckaroo answers, I was in my last year of high school, which was grade 12 for me. I learned loads of things at that job, how to taxi aircraft being the most fun, but I also learned how to work with others, including supervisors and customers. I learned that it was a great feeling of empowerment to have my own money and to be responsible for care of millions of dollars worth of equipment. Student asks, was it a paying job? Buckaroo responds, yes, it paid well for the time, about $6 an hour if I remember correctly. Student name says, what did you do for work immediately following high school? Now there is no response here. I cut the interview off, but I just put a little text in red that says, again, the interview above is for sample only and yours will continue beyond this point to include answers for all of the questions posted in the TIJ Culminating Interview Questions 2019 2 pages. Again, sample only. Okay, so let's look at the next 2 things. Now, this posting here, TIJ1O1 Culminating Interview Questions 2019 2 pages, and the fourth one, this is the exact same thing, posted twice. The only difference is This one is posted as a Word document, and this one is posted as a PDF. So I'm only going to open one of these because they're both exactly the same. But here is where you find all of the interview questions that you need to ask for your interview subject. So the questions are pre-scribed for you. You don't have to make up your own questions. You're going to be using these questions to interview your subject. Now, do you have to do this sitting with someone? No, you don't, but you could. You could print this off, this PDF sheet, and sit with your interview subject and then write all their answers underneath all of the questions. And then this would serve as a rough copy document that you can scan, take a picture of, and upload to the assignment folder for your rough notes. So that's one way that you can do it. Let's say the person you want to interview, it's impossible for you to get together with them personally. Maybe they live on the other side of the world, for example. So here's what you're going to do in that sense. You can open up the Word document and you could email that as an attachment to them, have them fill in all of the answers, and then email it back to you, and then all of their answers in the rough format will serve as your 2 marks for your rough copy. Right? That is another way that you can do it. Very simple. Also, if you're not into the idea of writing answers down with your interview subject, like I mentioned before, you can record the interview and you can submit your recording as an MP3 as your rough copy. And then all you have to do is listen to your interview and type it up, good copy in magazine interview format as requested. So this is the Word document. Again, it looks just like the PDF, but it takes a little while for this to load up. So basically what you would do is just download this and then you would have it. But again, as you can see, it looks just like the one that I just showed you. And they're all 2 pages. So it's roughly about 28 to 30 questions that you're going to be asking. And then lastly is the evaluation sheet. So this is how you're going to be marked. So you'll be getting this back. So your cover page is 3 marks out of 30. You have to include the title, the course name, your name, the teacher's name, the date, and if you add some creativity, you're going to get full marks for this cover page. Next is the full complete interview for a full mark. It's 50 marks for your interview. It has to be typewritten. Obviously, we don't want it handwritten. Magazine interview format means follows that format that I showed you in your sample. And it also says full name, phone number, and email address. Now, you're not required to include the phone number. All I really need is the full name of your interview subject and their email address in case I need to contact them to verify something. Rough interview, 2 marks. One of the following is required. All right, so there is 4 bullets here, but you only need to do one of these things to get your full 2 marks. So interview questions are printed and answers are written on and scanned, or a copy of the email with the answers are typed in and scanned, or clear photographs of the rough interview are included. That means taking snapshots of your rough notes, or an audio file MP3 is included. So do one of these 4. Lastly, final summary. 300 words minimum. Organize each thought into its own paragraph, typically 3 to 4 sentences for each for full marks. So don't have it all as one giant text of writing. Break up all of your answers. So meaning Your thoughts on the interview will be one paragraph. Your thoughts about the world of work, your thoughts about the world of technology and a career in technology, your thoughts on the role of tech classes in high school. So, how do you get at least 300 words? Again, it tells you if you organize each thought into its own paragraph, typically 3 to 4 sentences per response for one of these bullets, you're going to easily get your 300 words. So you have to personally reflect on this interview experience. And lastly, it says, everyone must interview a different person. You are not permitted to share the same person with any other student enrolled in TIJ1O1 this semester. Note, this project will only be accepted by Dropbox in the hub, so that is your assignments folder. No hard copy projects or hard copy components will be accepted. Okay, so now that we've gone through all of the files included in our Culminating Task module, I'm going to show you one way that you can start your good copy of your magazine interview format. I'm going to show you one way on one program, but it really is up to you what you want to use to do this. So I'm not saying you have to use Microsoft Word to do this. You can use any word processing software you're comfortable using and that you know how to use to do this. But I can't do multiple lessons on multiple different platforms. So if you're really stuck and you don't know what to do, you can really at least just copy what I'm doing on Word and everything should be fine. So I've got Microsoft here, Microsoft Word open. I'm going to hit New and I'm going to select Blank Document. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is create columns. So if I go into Page Layout, I'm going to reduce the spacing for after. I'm just going to reduce that to 0. And I'm going to select columns. And I'm going to select two columns for this project. Then I'm going to go back to Insert. And I'm going to go to Page Number. And I'm going to be selecting some page numbering here. So like a magazine, you're always going to have page numbers. So I'm going to select bottom of page, bottom left like this. And it'll end up being a footer. So it looks like this. I'm going to click out. And here is my page numbering starting here at page number 1. Now, if you want to put the cover page first and then begin the interview below, you can do that. I'm not going to show you how to do a cover page because I think that should be pretty straightforward and you can do that, but you can include the cover page as a separate hand-in. The cover page does not need to be attached a part of your good copy for your magazine interview format. So I'm basically gonna start to reproduce what you saw as a sample in the Culminating Task module. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm starting with a title, I'm going to increase my font size. So I'm going to use I'm going to see what 24 or 26 looks like. And I'm going to begin to type. So this should pretty much be a duplicate for the most part of what you saw posted on the hub that I showed you a few moments ago. So this is an interview with former aviation mechanic, Mr. Bonsai, who has now turned technological education teacher. Okay. I'm going to space down. I'm going to reduce my font size up to, I'm going to go with size 12. So, this person's name is Buckaroo Bonsai. I'm going to include the phone number. It's not a real phone number, obviously, for my lesson, but you don't have to include the phone number, but you can if you'd like to. What is required is an email address, though, so I'm typing an email address. And you will not type this either, this sample only above. This is because this is made up, right, for my lesson. So you won't have this, but you will have to have a title, the person's full name, and their email address. This is optional, this phone number. Okay. So now we're going to begin our interview. So this is going to start off as student name. And I'm going to start by using the first question from the prescribed set of questions that you see. So, while working at school, did you have a part-time job? So Buckaroo answers, yes, I had a job working at Condor Aviation. All right, now, before I continue with the next question, it's really difficult to read a response like this because it's all one color of text. So you really need to make this easier to understand and draw the eye. So what I want you to do is where it would typically say your name, I want you to change the color. So you can go up to text highlighter. Actually, it's this one here, font color, and you can change the color, like to something that's easily seen on a white background. So I'm going to go with this nice little light blue for the names. Okay, so that's better, but I really want to distinguish the question from the answer as well. So we can leave the text, the question text, default if you want, or we can just change the answer, or both. So if I block off this text, go back up, and I can select something different. I'll use purple. So now that's really a lot easier to understand, right? We know who's asking the question, when it's being asked, when it's being answered, what the question is, and a clear indication of what the answer is. So this is how I want you to do it. I want you to color coordinate it. If you make it easier on me to understand your interview, I'm going to be more inclined to give you a better mark on it. Okay, so let's post one more question. So student name, which would be your name. So we're going to fix this up to be light blue. And we're going to change the question back to default. So it says, what was your job and when did you work? Answer will be in purple. You can use your own colors if you want. These are just the colors that I'm using. So he says, I was a line crewman and the job was after school and on weekends. I was responsible for fueling aircrafts that were used at the flight school that ran there. We also had to take them in and out of the hangar, as well as sell fuel to other aircrafts that flew into the airport. Okay. I did make a mistake here. I'm going to fix it. I need to put the interview subject's name here, Buckaroo, and this goes into light blue. Okay, so don't forget to do this. Now we're going to be continuing this theme as we go. We'll do this one more time. Student name. Change this to light blue. Next question. Go back to default color. What grade were you in at the time, and what did you learn from that job? Switch back to light blue. Buckaroo. That rhymes. Switch back to purple. I was in my last year of high school, which was grade 12 for me. I learned loads of things at that job. How to taxi aircraft being the most fun. But I also learned how to work with others, including supervisors, and customers. I learned that it was a great feeling of empowerment to have my own money and to be responsible for care of millions of dollars worth of equipment. So I'm fixing all my errors from the one I had posted. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I'm not going to type another question and answer because I think you probably get the idea. Let's see what happens if we adjust this font. Put it up to 14. We could use 14 font. I guess maybe we'll keep it at 12. We'll use 14 font for the contact information. We'll keep the interview down to 12. And if we want, we can up this title font. So it's all personal preference. As long as it looks nice and it makes sense, it's going to be fine. So I'm going to stop there. I may include another video on how to insert a picture graphic into here. So watch for that video if it comes out. And I say take care for now, and I will talk to you later.